Hey everybody, welcome to lesson 7 of Crow's Java programming tutorial. We're going to be talking about random numbers and how we're going to use the Math.random function in Java. So random numbers can be quite powerful within programming. It is a great way you can create simulations and also analyze potential outcomes for some sets of data. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new class and call it random numbers. Okay, for this random numbers, we're gonna create a subtraction quiz for a child. So we will have the computer produce random numbers, and those random numbers will be asked to subtract from each other, and you will see the user will be tested on if they can do this subtraction. So first we want to create two random numbers. So we will do int and 1 equals, and so when you are creating a random number, Math.random will create a random double value or decimal value that is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1. So not equal to 1.0, less than 1.0, but potentially greater than or equal to 0. So essentially what that does is that allows us that if we multiply this by a certain number and force it to become an integer by casting it, and this is what casting is, we can do math.random times 10. This could be a random number between 0.0 and less than 1.0. So this basically can be a random number between 0 and 9, because it could be 9.99999 is the highest number, and that 9.9 would get truncated when it turns into an integer, so it would round down into a value of 9. Okay, int ran2 equals int math.random times 10. So now we have our two random numbers. And so within this, we want to check to see if the one random number is greater than the other, because we don't want to get a negative number. So we want the first random number to make sure that that is the biggest and then subtract it from the second random number. And so we can go back to doing our if statement. So if ran1 is greater than ran2, actually, if ran1 is less than ran2, we're going to create a temporary value as a placeholder. So int temp1 will equal ran1 and ran1 will become random2. And this is actually very common. And then so ran1 will be equal to random2, and random2 will be equal to the previous temp, which has been set to random1. There shouldn't be a space here. Okay? And you need curly brackets because we were doing more than one line of a command. Okay, and so this will make it so that we want to test this. And so whenever we get to more than just like one specific thing that we're doing in our code, we want to make sure that we're testing while we're going through. It helps organize things so your problems aren't as big. And so we will print ran1 now. Based off of our code, random1 should always be greater than random2, because if random1 is less than random2, they should switch. So hopefully it'll print lowest to highest essentially right here. Okay, so 0, 0. Uh-oh, I know what that means. Okay, it'll be 0 every time. Okay, so you need to make sure that your random, because This gets a random number between 0 and 1, and then I think we're truncating it first, so it's automatically going down to 0. So you want to make sure you put these in parentheses. And this is another reason why you test, because if you go all the way to the end and this was your problem the whole time, you might not know that that's your problem. Okay, but if you stop right here, since we haven't done all that much, I realize very quickly where my problem lies. Okay, so always 8, 3. So I'm looking to make sure that the first number is always greater, and it is. Okay, excellent. So now we just need to do our program. We're going to do int answer equals rand1 minus rand2. And let's go ahead and print before we do that. And then we'll also print the answer to rand1 minus plus rand2 plus is plus answer. Okay, so hopefully that'll look good. 4 and 1. The answer to 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, excellent. You've created a subtraction quiz. We've used the Math.random. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do one more problem with you here. So we're going to do a little rock, paper, scissors. So new class, rock, paper, scissors. I have a lot of fun with this one, so I want to make sure we did this. Okay, so we're going to need to create input, so we're going to have a scanner as well. So we're going to say, we'll do prompt the user. Choose rock, and that'll be 0. Paper, 1. Scissors, or scissors, that'll be 2. Okay, and then we can create our scanner. Scanner, system.in. We're going to need to do Control-Shift-O to import our scanner. Int guess equals input dot next int, and int comp guess equals int, parentheses this time, math.random, and as long as we times it by 3, that'll get us a random number between 0 and 2. And then if, and you would have to finish this if with rock, paper, or scissors. So if guess equals comp guess sys out, it's a tie. If guess equals 0 and comp guess equals the different scenarios. So if they guess paper and we did rock, so 0 and they did paper, sys out, you lose. Okay, but we could also combine this and have another OR and use our OR function. So OR guess equals 1. What are all the scenarios that we could lose? And comp guess equals 2. That would be the second way, and there's got to be a third way we can lose. Or guess equals 2 and comp guess equals 0. We would lose if we're scissors at 2 and they are rock at 0. Those are the 3 ways we can lose. Okay, and then if we just switch the 2, so I'm going to copy, not reinvent the wheel, and put comp guess here, paste, and replace this first one with guess. And guess. Do you win? Okay. So now we have our 3 scenarios. All right, let's try to test this too. And let's go ahead and print comp guess so we can check just to make sure. Okay. So 2. They also picked 2. It's a tie. Okay. 0. They picked 2. So I chose rock and they chose scissors. I won. Excellent. So that should work with all of them if that works. 1. Paper. They chose scissors. They won. Okay. So you could also print out, instead of doing comp guess, you could print out and you could say if their guess is 2, if comp guess equals 2, tell them to print out scissors or rock or paper so that you can have a little bit more interaction between the user and the computer. This you'd have to be able to read the code to understand who won and why they won or lost. But that's all we have for Lesson 7 on Math.random. We were able to use that in a few different ways. Just remember that it goes up between 0.0 and that up right before 1.0. So it's just less than that 1.0. And if you, in order to manipulate it, you need to multiply it by the limit in which you want it to go to. Okay, you can always have it start at something greater than 0 just by adding to it first. Plus 1 will give you, this would give you a random number between 1 and now all the way up till 3. Okay? Okay, well, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed Lesson 7 on Math.random.